Welcome. Welcome to the SES Part 3. I know a few of you have not attended Part 1 or Part 2, so we're going to get you caught up. For those of you who have been to Part 1, Part 2 of our workshops throughout the beginning of the summer, a little bit of review. We've had a lot of the same questions coming in over and over again. So we're going to re-hit some of those questions this morning as well. And this morning we are going to talk about 2020 Aetna kickoff, but more importantly, really building your business throughout this annual enrollment period. So those of you who have a binder from previous workshops, we're going to fill the binder with more information. Those of you who don't have a binder, have a folder, we're going to continue to feed you more information. I brought a ton of Medicare stuff back there too. Grab it. I have pallets of that stuff. Literally. So I expect the table to be clean. Take what you want. We have more. If you want more, I'll order you more. If you want to log into the CMS website on your own, I'll send you the link to log in and create your own user. As an agent, you can't order as much as an agency. It is what it is, right? You get like 10 a month or whatever. If you need more, if you're doing an educational event of any kind, that is priceless to have on the table so you're not once again tying yourself to a carrier. So let's get started. Let's review workshop number 1. First and foremost, written goals. If you have not started writing your goals down for what you would like to accomplish this upcoming annual enrollment period, I beg of you, write your goals down. Know how many leads you need to purchase, know how many people you need to sell, and know what your numbers are going to be. It is crucially important that you have written goals, not only in this business, but in life. Otherwise, it's not a goal, it's just a wish, right? Do we understand that? I wish I could sell 300 apps this AEP. What's your game plan to actually get there? Get yourself organized. This year, there's 23 different apps from what I'm counting thus far already just in this Metro Detroit area. Counting all the carriers, right? Aetna, all the others, there's a tremendous amount of applications. Get yourself organized. Know what applications you need. Know what you're going to be offering in that area. If you need help, we have maps of the state on where the dual SNPs are located, where the expansions are coming in, whether or not you wish to pick up a carrier, why have Aetna, etc. Understanding the objections versus stalls. This is on the SES agent portal. Know the difference between an objection and a stall, and you are unstoppable in this industry. But you have to understand the difference and not get persuaded mentally to think that a stall is actually an objection. If you need help with that, get on the SES agent portal or please reach out to agent services, myself, Yvonne, Teresa, or anyone else in the office. Understand measuring your time, right? So if you ask anyone, I don't care if it's the old lady behind you at the grocery store, how have you been? The reply nowadays is always busy. I'm busy. Busy, busy. Busy doing what? Cross-stitching? Busy doing what? Watching the grandchildren? What are you busy doing? And in this industry, you need to be busy creating money so that way you can free up your time by paying others to do the things that used to keep you busy, right? So please start measuring your time and get yourself on a fixed schedule. If it means saying no, say no. Your follow-up. Do you have business cards? Do you have magnets? Is your voicemail full? Do you have thank you cards sent? Do you have AEP postcards ready to go out so they land October 1st? Do you send Christmas cards to your consumers? If you do, now's the time to get your Christmas card taken care of because we're all going to get really busy in about 5 weeks' time. So really make sure that you're following up with your current client base. Utilizing your agent resources, right? Your government publications. The SES agent portal. If you haven't been there, if you haven't clicked on the resource tab, please go through and read that. If you haven't been on the quoting engine, understand, and I've had lots of conversations with agents over the last few weeks, most of your FMOs in this industry have a quoting engine. Get that. They're all from one carrier. It's all CSG, right? So understand that if you have your favorite FMO that you go to, whether or not it's SMS, whether or not it's JSA, whether or not it's Premier, whether or not it's Ritter, they're all using the same CSG quoting engine. Does that make sense? So if you go to an SMS website for your quoting, you may not find Lumico on there. It's just not on there. That they don't offer it, nor do they offer CSO. But if you go to Premier's quoting engine, they don't have every carrier on there either. Get in the habit of using the SES agent quoting engine. I assure you, every single carrier besides one, it's a captive agency, no one sells it, right? Besides one carrier, we have every carrier on that quoting engine. So it's very important to recognize that here in Michigan, almost all of your med subs are just in time. So if you do need that application and contract, you can write the application that night, submit the contract that night, and moving on in your life, right? So recognize that. Obviously, get on your websites, your carrier websites, the training websites. You know, Aetna has a slew of information within their website to be able to learn and really understand what's coming this upcoming year. Understanding your Part B. Setting up the Part B. My consumer's retiring at 72 and they need help with that. Setting up or understanding the costs, if there is a penalty, if they do receive LIS, the low income subsidy or the extra help, and what the coverage obviously is to Part B. Understanding your Michigan Medigap subsidy, which we'll go into briefly, but that was certainly something that came about as a topic that many individuals wanted to discuss. If you want the workshop, Part 1 slides, let me know. I'll get the slides over to you. 2 months later, we ended up doing a Part 2 workshop. We went through the 3% difference, right? The difference between being great at what you do and being exceptional at what you do, and the income difference that's created between being great and being exceptional. And it's enormous as an income goes. But understand as an agent, it's only a 3% difference. It's 3% more time, it's 3% more thought, it's 3% more marketing. That's all it is. It's just a minute difference that distinguishes you from the person to your left or the person to your right that's not willing to put in that additional extra 3%. No time to waste, right? We understand, and if you're new to this industry, please learn this, that your business comes from previous business, right? I have no time to waste in going out and finding that next consumer today. I need them today because now I can get in their 6 degrees of separation today. It's not who you sell today, it's who they know. That's what I'm after, right? So earn that referral. Know that I have to go out and sell this today. I need to find some warm bodies today that I can go help because that's where the income obviously continues to increase. Bless you. Importance of marketing, right? Know your numbers. What are you spending on marketing? What's your cost to return? Is your marketing working? Is your marketing not working? Are you throwing money down some deep, dark hole that is never ending when it comes to the marketing of your business? Letting everyone know what you do. Scream it from the highest mountaintop, right? Pull tabs, flyers, banners, a car sign, labeling on the back of the car. It's like $115 to get your phone number etched in the back of your windshield or your window. So really recognize what are you doing to let your local community know I am here and this is what I do. It is crucial. No one's going to find you in your living room. Predictability removes the emotion, right? It's never the consumer's fault. It's always your own. Consumers are consumers. It doesn't matter who they are. It is what it is. So really recognize the predictability when it comes to not being emotional that you lost a sale or not being emotional that your leads aren't working or the lead source you purchased, etc. Holding yourself accountable, right? Are you a strict boss? Can you tell others no? I'm working today. Today is my day to work, and no, I unfortunately cannot drive you or pick up or whatever the case may be. Your record keeping, your organization, and understanding your business. Do you have all your consumers on an Excel spreadsheet? Do you have them in a CRM? Do you use a CRM? There are many out there of no cost to you, and if you need help with them and organizing who you have, please reach out to us to keep track of all of their birthdays, when the policy was actually written. This allows for you to keep track of your commissions on the back end and make sure that you're being paid accordingly. If you need help with that, reach out, obviously. The psychology of the close, understanding the science of the sales. We'll get to that in a second because that was brought up several times. So it's been 4 months since we did our initial workshop part 1. Since then, the homework was to create 3 fictitious clients on Medicare's website, right? Run some plans, run their meds. They're on Januvia, they're on a ProAir inhaler, put some expensive meds in and really understand, if you haven't been in there, to really understand who is going to help that consumer best or what their overall costs are going to be. Read the 2020 Medicare New Book. If you haven't found it, we'll get it for you, right? You can order it directly from Medicare. It's on a PDF at this point in time as well. Get that reviewed so you understand when the consumer asks you about something in the book that you're not dumbfounded. Review your product knowledge, your sales knowledge, and more importantly, your Medicare knowledge, right? Go back through. Even though you've been certified with Aetna or certified with whomever, it comes down to the nitty-gritty of those plans and really understanding what they offer and if it's a good the right fit for your consumer. Listen to at least 1 sales CD audiobook a week, per week. If you don't have it downloaded, download one. They're cheap, they're free from the libraries. Put it on a USB stick. If you need a USB stick, reach out. We have some, right? So recognize and continue to polish your skills. Learn 1 carrier's online application process per week. We are giving away an iPad today, right? Hey, for those of you that didn't know. So there's a reason behind this. All of your carriers, every single one of them, you can complete an application on an iPad. We'll get into that here in a second. Get organized. Get a predictable goal. Know where that predictability comes from. Memorize your deductibles, your LIS limits, your Medicaid levels and amounts, your Michigan subsidy amounts. Understand what LIS is, the extra help, the qualification limits. Understand your Medicaid levels, your income levels for Medicaid. Fill out your upline fact sheet. So we provided you a sheet that has every phone number or a space for all of your fax numbers, who your upline is, etc. We also printed off an additional sheet specifically for the MAPDs. Start filling that out so you know when that application comes in, if it's a new carrier, where it's going. Practice. Record your presentation. Give it to yourself in the mirror, right? See how you react to yourself within that presentation. Once again, take inventory of your applications. Now's the time to begin ordering. If you need apps, let us know. We do courier, 24-hour service, door to door, right? So if you need an application, you call us by 2, 3 o'clock that afternoon. I'll have them on your front doorstep the next morning. No problems, right? However, keep in mind, with that, you really should be organized with the products and the applications. And once again, if you're doing everything on an iPad, it doesn't really necessitate you having a slew of applications in your car or your home. Begin your organization, setting time aside for your certifications, right? Now's the time. AEP technically starts in 6 weeks, right? October 1st, you can start running meds, you can start finding plans, etc. Really understand where you're at with your certification process. This is what we covered in April, June, now we're in August, right? If you want the slides to part 1, you want the slides to part 2, you want any additional homework because your summertime is just so freed up, let me know and I would be happy to feed you anything and everything I can possibly think of to be able to help you succeed this AEP. So let's begin with workshop number 3. Who's your client? Do you know who your client is? So first guy, for those of you that can't read that far, do you breathe? If so, you're my client, right? Okay. The next gentleman says, what? Ideal who? He has no clue. The third one says, I know everything about them. Where do they live? What music they listen to? And what makes them happy? Understand who your client is. Have you asked enough questions, either over the phone or in person, to truly know their situation, preferably over the phone before you go out and visit with them? Have you asked enough questions to know the right plan? Have you gone in and run their medications, or have you found their doctors, etc., to really hone in on what specifically they're looking for? Have you targeted the right audience, right? So marketing is marketing. You're going to market to one specific group of individuals that may not cross over to another specific group of individuals. But how are you targeting your audience? Whether or not you're a MedSup agent, whether or not you're an MEPD agent, whether or not you're a final expense agent, where are you finding your consumers? Have you found common interests with your consumer? I'm building a relationship with you. I'm not selling you something. There is a massive, distinct line drawn here. I want to find out who you are. And when I walk in the house, I'm going to find something that we can relate to immediately, right? So now we're friends. I don't care if it's the grill in your garage. I don't care if it's the stove in your fridge or your toaster oven or your kitchen table or your, right? I'm going to find, oh my God, I have the same welcome mats, right? Wow, where'd you get it? Walmart? Yeah, I did. Oh, well. Right? And we're going to build a relationship immediately upon walking through that door. Do you know their child's name, their grandchild's name, their dog's name, their favorite color? How are they remembering you? You book a phone call with someone, right? And you book the appointment. The last thing any of us want is to get porched. Been there, done that. I've probably been porched more times than I could ever fathom until I started really figuring out how do you build that relationship over the phone with that consumer immediately, so that way they're going to be there with you and for you. Recognize it's just an ordinary day. It is literally just an ordinary day. You have enough consumer knowledge. You have enough product knowledge. You know your applications, how to run them, how to write them online. You have your apps in hand. You're organized. You know where to go to find your information that you may be missing. You've done enough role playing. You know your materials. You've read and understood your materials. You've practiced. Practice does make perfect, right? If you're not recording your calls, if you're not practicing your appointment, you are floundering. This is a science. This comes down to your skill set, not your luck set. Those that are lucky are skillful, right? Being at the right place at the right time and having that knowledge makes you lucky. Keep in mind, there are many, many lucky agents out there because they're skillful. Stay calm. You know more than the consumer does. So I don't care if it's a new product. Hey, can you tell me about universal life insurance? Sure, I'd be happy to. Let's gather some information. I'll get some homework done and come back to you, right? Hey, can you tell me about this new Aetna Zero Premium PPO plan? Well, if you're not appointed, sure I can. Let me gather some information from you. I'll get back to you, right? Now you have skin in the game for that consumer. What's in it for me? What's in it for me? That's all in the consumer's mindset. So if I'm going to do some homework for you and then get back to you, now they know that I'm out working on their behalf and that appointment's going to stick and I'm going to come back out and visit with you and continue that relationship. So let's talk about the appointment itself, right? Let's obviously be respectful of the consumer's home. Shoes off, or at least offer to. Don't park in the driveway, right? Park in the street, etc. Clean up after yourself. You have coffee. I generally don't have a plate. I generally don't eat, and there's a reason, because I'm talking the whole time. Hey, I just made some goulash. It's amazing. No thanks, right? And there's multiple reasons for that. That one, I don't have the time because people want to work with busy people, right? Because that's what makes you professional. I don't have the time to hang out here with you for 3 hours and have dinner. I'm moving on. Even if I don't have another appointment, I still have other work that can be done. So I don't give my consumers the perception that I'm going to hang out with you and be with you, right? Cup of coffee, glass of water, and I'm out the door. The dinner may smell amazing. I'm asking of you, don't partake. Get out of their home so they can enjoy their dinner, talk about the situation, figure out who referral-wise they want to pass on to you. Build a relationship, right? As I mentioned, do not sell the consumer a product. You sell them a carrier and their doctor no longer accepts that carrier, you may not get a phone call back. They tied you in with that carrier. If they ended up moving out of the network, hey, I had to go up north and help my mom out, your plan isn't accepted in the UP. Oh, well, Jesus, lady, you have to really announce the fact that you offer everyone that you are a fiduciary. It's on your health license. Do we all know what that term means? Right? It means that we're going to do the best interest of our consumer. So if that's the case, build a relationship with them and the product will come. They'll beg you for it as long as that relationship's built. Information versus pitching, right? Gather, then make a conclusion. Don't pitch unknowingly, not knowing where that consumer may stand. Ask prying questions over and over and over. How'd that make you feel? What was your out of pocket? Do you need dental work done? I mean, there should be 1,000 prying questions that are just on the tip of your tongue that you can fire off to these consumers while you're visiting with them or even over the phone with them. No need for the close, right? The best feeling as an agent or a sales rep is, how do I enroll? That's what you want to hear on every single appointment. That's how you know that you did a good job. What's the next step? How do I enroll? Well, George, I'm glad you asked. Let me see if I have that Aetna app in my briefcase, and I happen to have an Aetna app. Let's get this taken care of, right? Complete the above correctly. And at that time, you have the right to ask for referrals. There are agents out there that I know that have printed off, well, give me 5 friends and family. You haven't earned it yet. You haven't built the relationship yet with that consumer to be able to really go back after them or their referral base. Being the professional, right? So understanding that we all need to grid out the 3% difference. We all do. It's built in as a human that we want to check out. And that's why Candy Crush does so well, right? That's why Facebook does so well. Go to any child soccer game and watch everyone watching their kids, and none of them are watching their kids nowadays, right? So that 3% difference, that little bit of reading that you could do at the soccer game instead of going right to Facebook, right? It's habitual nowadays because it's always on our phone. So understand when you aren't checked in, when you aren't giving it your 100%, that 3% difference, right? That's what's going to make you twice or 3 times the level of income is just that 3% on a day-to-day basis. Assisting consumers with more than product, right? Those of us that are out helping these consumers, knowing the extra help, having the applications in your briefcase to provide to them, knowing where they need to go on Social Security's website, knowing what the Medicaid levels are, and are you really out there once again selling them something, or are you helping them get into a plan or a program that provides them true assistance? Because just like helping your aunt, your mother, or anyone else, you would expect them to know how to be able to get that extra help when it comes to their Medicare, their Medicaid, Social Security, what have you. Quit slinging mud. I see the fluctuation of business with certain agents, right? You write a ton of one carrier and then the next month it all drops off and then boom, you're back with another carrier. Building that relationship will allow for you to not sling as much mud and to truly have those consumers on your books for years and years to come. We all realize that we get paid for life, the life of the consumer. So to me, it doesn't matter what carrier that consumer's on as long as they're with me. That's all I care about, right? So no more mudslinging, right? We're going to build a relationship. We're going to quit pigeonholing or pitching plans, and we're going to go out and truly help these consumers. Don't get tied to the carrier, right? If you're out selling a product, you're going to get tied to that carrier, good, bad, or ugly. Business cards, having enough information on them so that way they understand that you are open as a fiduciary. When you sit down and you're fact gathering with them, that they understand that you can offer a slew, right? I offer 12 different carriers in this area. I don't care who you purchase, but let's really get down to the nitty gritty. Do you need to have this physician and network or whatever it may be? Dress and walk the walk, right? I mentioned in workshop number 1 that I hate shaving, but I'm not going to go to an appointment unshaven, right? I hate ironing, but I'm not going to go to an appointment with wrinkled clothes. It's being prepared and really following that profession, right? It's fake it till you make it type of thing to a certain extent. So as an agent, it's really important to be that professional prior to them thinking otherwise, because that's the impression that they have when you're walking through their door. You need to maintain that same impression with them. Follow up, follow through. Every consumer's home I've ever been in has a magnet on their fridge. And if they have a sub-zero fridge, the magnet's on the back door. I don't ask. It's going up. Why? Because I need for you to remember who I am. I have to have you remember who I am. If you need to switch your plans, if you have a referral, if you need life insurance, if you need hospital indemnity, if you need me to come back out, I need for you to be able to find me. And if they can't find you because you don't have business cards, you're not doing a handwritten thank you card, you're not building that relationship with them, then all of a sudden come October 1st, there's a Humana commercial on the TV and you lost a client. It's just that easy. Or they're going to call you and say, wow, I think this is too good to be true, is it? I don't know. We can revisit that, right? So understand that come AEP, that's all the consumers are seeing. They're watching Vanna and they're getting bombarded with carrier commercials coming. So if you sold off that one carrier, they will leave you off that one carrier. Always be after the referrals, right? I don't blatantly come out and say it. I don't need to. I've done my job enough to where they want to refer people to me. They want to help their community and they know where to turn to get unbiased information. But I am always after the referrals. The handwritten thank you cards, the magnet on the back door, they all have at least 4 to 5 business cards. They all get a Christmas card. They all get an AEP postcard. I stay in front of my consumers. Is it costly? Of course. But really, to send out 1,000 postcards to remind someone that it's your annual enrollment period costs, what, $300? If you get one sale off that from a referral, hey, I didn't need it this year, but I gave it to my sister. I'm in. I just made my money back and then some, right? So recognize that, and more importantly, recognize that renewal business that comes out of this. Know your online applications. I cannot emphasize this enough. I almost put up a few examples of applications that we get through our office. So we'll scrub your applications for you. Make sure that your agent number is on there, the consumer's phone number is on there, that your national producer number is on there. Understand that the carriers receive the application and your consumer receives the application too. So recognize what your penmanship looks like and is it legible? Can we find the physician when we're scrubbing your applications for you? If we can't, now you're involved again, having to go back out, find the correct physician, right? You only have 24 hours, put stress on us, put stress on you. You complete it online, no issues. It'll find it for you. You can pull up your physician finder, etc. Once again, know your market, right? It is annual enrollment period. How are we targeting? Who are we targeting? Do we have lawn signs purchased? Do we have any marketing materials ready to go? Stamped, labeled, if you need leads, what are you doing to create this AEP? Otherwise, it's going to start in deer in headlights, right? What do we do now? Well, now's the time to get prepared. If you have paper applications, obviously they're neat. Receive completed documents, right? Make sure that everything is in order with your apps. Know your compliant sales, your marketing practices. We have a slew of events going on at this point in time. Detroit Zoo Days is coming up in about a week's time. We have the Walmarts going up, which I believe we have a list out front. If you want to work at Walmart even a few hours a week, you're more than welcome to, but recognize how to compliantly market yourself. Whether or not you're presenting yourself as an educational event, a semi-formal or a formal event, we need to make sure that you've done the appropriate certifications through the carriers to allow for you to go out and compliantly represent the carrier themselves. Keep detailed records, right? As I mentioned, if you do not have a CRM, we'll find you one. If you need Excel, we have one created for you. Help yourself, obviously with the SES commissions as well, we put all the policy numbers, the activity of your consumers, so you can always work off that also. Get organized, know who your consumers are, know who's on your book, know what your renewals are, and run your business like a business. Okay, true or false? Raise your hands. Having a good attitude means you should take no's personally. Go ahead, Eddie. False. Why is that? Well, if you know your numbers and how many no's to make a yes, you'll strive to find the no's, right? Does that make sense? Here's a gas card for you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, buddy. So if you know that it takes you 100 calls in order to book 12 appointments, that means you have 88 no's going, right? Seek out the no's. Know that, all right, on that 89th no, I got myself a sale going on. So recognize that, and once again, seek out the no's. Next question. If I sell 10 applications in a month, how much is a 1,000-piece mailer? Go ahead. No. It's free. You write 10 MAPDs in a month. You write 10 med sups in a month. Al, I got you lunch. And maybe a mailer here coming soon too. We will provide a mailer piece for you. At this point in time, our mailer pieces are running at about 5.2% rate of return. It's pretty high. So you do a 1,000-piece mailer, you get 52 leads back. Out of the 52 leads, you should be able to close 25% of them. Average agent, right? We're going to take the 3% difference though. We're going to increase that. But out of that 25%, 52 mailers, now you just sold 15 to 16 apps off that mailer, right? And you obviously built your pipeline month after month to continue the sales process of the people that you've missed. So recognize this, get on board with this, so that way we can help feed you leads to where you're writing 15, 16 a month off that mailer piece, and then you get another mailer piece, and life just continues to move on. So your sales basics. Consumers want to know your self-awareness. Do you have yourself together? How's your presentation? How many times did you say on the phone call when you're booking your appointment with them? Have you counted? The last agent I listened to said 21 times in 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Holy cow. Get yourself together. Know how you're booking that call. Know how you're booking your appointment. Sorry to call you out, Mark. Didn't mean to do that. Your understanding of their options, right? Do you know what plans are available in that marketplace? Do you have a list? Do you have a question? You okay? Go ahead.
Do you guys help us with scripting? So like if I'm bringing agents on, so that we can avoid the
Recording yourself's the first part. Having your product knowledge. Having your questions to fire back. So briefly to go into a phone call or any conversation in life for that matter, because this will help any of you fighting with your spouse. Okay, you ready? You ask a question, they provide a response. While they're providing the response, you take a breath. Why? Because women will interrupt you if you do take a breath, and men will interrupt you if they think you're going to take a breath. Recognize that and live by it, because you'll never lose another fight with your spouse ever again. Honey, why did that make you feel that way? And she'll fire back, and then all of a sudden, you come up with your statement. I'm really sorry that made you angry. What can we, right? And you fire back with a question. So it's this game of table tennis that continuously keeps occurring. That's how you control a conversation. That's how you control the appointment and how you control the phone work to book that appointment. It's the same thing. So recognize how that table tennis is played, or that game of tennis, call it whatever you wish to call it, but it is this back and forth. I ask a question, I take a breath, they reply, I answer their question, because you have to answer that question regardless of what it is, and then you come up immediately in your mind with another question to fire back. So it's a question, reply, answer the question, reply back. Same breath, right? Over and over and over again. So yes, when it comes to phone scripts, we do have compliant phone scripts that we'd be happy to share with you. It comes down to your recordings. It comes down to your knowledge, because if you read off a phone script, Mr. Smith, we would never book an appointment, right? Does that make sense? Heard that too. So it's the practicing. It's the practicing in your car. It's the recording of yourself calling a neighbor, calling a sibling. Hey, I need to book an appointment with you. I'm going to call you right back. Okay, right? I need you to be tougher with me. I need you to give me some stalls or objections so I know how to handle those. Your ability to properly assist and willingness to follow through. That is what sets you apart, right? People want to know how much you care before they know how much you know, right? So recognize that. Why you should reassess yourself? Well, it helps you establish a baseline of your knowledge. I have heard of agents that know everything, and then I ask them a very simple question, and they don't have an answer. Reassess where you're at. Put your humble pants on. Know what you need to learn. Identify areas of weakness and strengths. What are you good at? Because you're good at something, right? You're good at booking the call. Maybe it's your punctuality. I don't know what it is that you need to improve on. Maybe it's your navigation or booking appointments in a general area so you're not driving all over Metro Detroit. Whatever it is, figure out what your weaknesses and strengths are. Gather suggestions to improve your performance in weak areas. Do you have a presentation? If so, give it to a colleague. Find another agent. Buy him lunch. Buy him dinner. Do something in order to continue to sharpen that axe. Evaluate the progress of your sales. And that's really what it boils down to, right? The numbers are the numbers. It always boils down to the numbers. Leave the emotion out of this. Compare yourself to who you think the perfect salesperson is, and then duplicate everything they do, down to the verbiage. Does that make sense? Okay. Chart your progress, right? If it's not written, if it's not charted, it's just a wish, it's not a goal. So here's your 5 job duties. You only have 5. Here they are. This is what fills up your whole day as a sales rep. Your product knowledge, right? Understanding what you're offering, who you're offering, where you're offering. Finding consumers. That is the Achilles heel. That is the one that takes the most amount of focus. Helping the consumer, obviously because you have product knowledge, because we all have a fiduciary label on our sleeves that we wear proudly, and we're going out to truly help them, not sell them. Follow up with the consumer, right? Because they need to know that you haven't dropped off the face of the earth, that your voicemail's not full, that they can actually feel comfortable in referring someone to you, and stay in front of the consumer. Business cards, postcards, magnets, mailers, I don't care, anything and everything. If you want to do Thanksgiving cards, birthday cards, understand that these consumers may not have anyone in their life. You're it. And you may be the only Christmas card on their wall this year because everyone in their life has passed. So if you're the only Christmas card and they happen to have a Super Bowl party and everyone comes in and goes, who's this? Well, that's my agent. Wow, can I get their number? Well, yeah, it's actually on the front of his Christmas card, but I'd be happy to give you a card because I have a stack of them because this guy's relentless at sending me cards. They always have some, right? Staying in front of that consumer is so important. So let's recap a few slides. As I mentioned in workshop number 1, workshop number 2, we went through the Michigan subsidy. We had a lot of questions on the Michigan subsidy. So on the Medicare supplemental side, if a consumer qualifies for income-wise for the Michigan subsidy, recognize that a 65 to 74-year-old, their MedSup premium is $35 less. If they're 74-year-old or older, it's $56 less. And if they're under 65 years of age with a disability, it's $110 less. To see if you qualify, you can always go to the MichiganMedigapSubsidy.com. If you need the link, let us know. The extra help. This is how I get most of my referrals, is helping someone who didn't realize that they qualified for extra help. All of a sudden, I save them on their Part B premium, right? $135 a month over 12 months' time is about $1,600. Done, saved you $1,600. Now I help you with your Part D standalone or your Medicare Advantage plan, and I save you an extra $1,500 off your meds. Because now you're no longer paying $150 for Januvia, it's only $865. So now I just saved you $3,000 in a year. I freed up 2 Social Security payments for you. I just gave you a raise like no one else has ever given you a raise. And you're going to scream my name from the highest mountaintop to come help everyone else that you know because I didn't just come into your home and sell you Humana or Aetna or anyone else for that matter, right? Asking the questions, prying. Single income, 18. Single with resources, 14. Married income, 25. So, right, burn that into your mind, 18 and 25. Married with resources, 28, right? Resources include money in checking, savings, stocks, bonds. Resources that don't count are a home, one car, a burial plot, up to $1,500 for burial expenditures, furniture, household and personal items. Learn this, breathe it, and go help the consumers that need that. Could you imagine getting a raise of 20% just because you met someone? You're going to love them. Hey, I just shared a secret with you, and all of a sudden now you earn way more income. Continuing with the extra help. Let's cover once again the 5 things that it does for you, right? So I help someone with extra help, LIS, through Social Security. They're going to receive either 25, 50, 75%, or 100% off their Part B premiums, okay? Depending on the level of income. So once again, now I just freed up $135.50 a month for you. It allows for you to have a special election period. We all understand now it's once per quarter up until October 1st. Within the quarter, not specifically month by month, but once within that quarter, you are able to change. It provides fixed co-payments on your prescriptions. See the summary of benefits, obviously, for the plans, but there is a limit on what their prescription drug costs will be. Obviously, removing that donut hole or walking that consumer through that donut hole so they're no longer getting walloped whatever month out of the year that they're falling into their donut hole. And obviously, no late enrollment penalties, right? It removes all of that. Ask enough questions to see if they qualify. Ask enough questions to see if they're on LIS or extra help already. Understanding the psychology of the close. So just to touch on this briefly. As I mentioned, this is a science. This is not emotional. I do not take it personal. I take the no's a little personal because if I'm going to be transparent with you and I'm going to teach you how to do this and to know everything you need to know, there really shouldn't be that many no's. But it all comes down to a psychology. Getting in the door, your marketing, your appointment setting, your event planning. How is this all going for you? Sorting versus selling, right? Get the sorting out of the way. I need to know, can I help you? And I need to figure that out before I drive 45 minutes to your home with the attempt to help you. Who is your consumer? And have you asked enough questions to not only get in the door, but not waste your time once you're in the door? Show them how to feel, right? Enthusiasm. Get on stage. Every time that phone rings, every time you talk to a consumer, on your feet. Oftentimes, it's a fairly slow-moving day mentally, and when you get on the phone with someone, that is the time that stage curtains open, you're on stage, it's time to be excited. Why am I excited? Because I finally got someone on the phone to talk to and an appointment to book. Every time, every consumer, show that enthusiasm of why you're truly excited to come out and visit with them. People buy an emotion, right, instead of on logic. Do not move from the emotional brain side, the left side of their brain, to the logical side, which is the right side of their brain, during an appointment. You will shoot yourself in the foot. Stay on the emotional side the entire time. People purchase off emotion. So recognize that and be a storyteller. The key is no matter what story you tell, make the client the hero, right? How would that benefit you? How do you think your life would be different if you had that option on your plan? How do you think your life would be different if you did include that hospital indemnity last year when you were hospitalized? Ask those prying questions. Make them feel the pain. Open the wound. Pour salt in the wound. Make them squirm in their chair and then pull out a Band-Aid and make it all better. That is how your appointment should go. Pain. More pain, all better. I'm the one that holds the Band-Aids. Go find another Band-Aid. I dare you. Very, very important to make them the hero. Understanding the psychology of the close, right? So building a relationship. Get invited into their circle of trust. Get invited into their community. Get invited into their family. Get invited into their 6 degrees of separation. I cannot emphasize this enough. That is what will change your business from hunting consumers down to having too many referrals coming in. Closing techniques, right? Let's get started, okay? You probably feel so good this is all over, huh? I'm sure your mind is at ease now that you fill in the blanks, right? I bet you can't wait to tell your neighbors that your AEP is done. It's done, and it's only October 3rd, right? We already know what we're doing, so now all you have to do is just go tell all your neighbors that you're all set. To tell all your neighbors who the woman or the man is that came out and took care of you. And they have a stack of cards, obviously, to then feed out to their neighbors and their friends to come back and to grow that annual enrollment period and to grow your business. Part B in retirement. This is something that has come up a lot. So I printed off sheets, I think it's a 6 or a 7-page packet for you, because we have a lot of questions with individuals that are retiring, how they're retiring, the size of the retiree group. So I just wanted to spend a quick moment on this. So understand, first and foremost, is the employer plan more or less than 20 employees? First question, right? Because that's going to help answer our COBRA situation. Possible enrollment on spouse's plan, right? Dependent on the cost. So if the spouse is 62 and her husband's turning 65, does it behoove of you to pull him off her plan? What if they only have one family deductible and she is sick as could be and hits it every year? Well, now this guy's got 100% coverage, right? What is the employer charging them for that plan to have him on it? Doing some math with that consumer and really weighing out, listen, I love you guys, but you're in the right spot. I'm going to make sure that you have one card today, and I'll get you another one in 3 years. I am patient, and I will make sure that I'm going to get you both when the time is ready, right? So recognize that. Does your spouse's plan require Part B enrollment? That's another cost of $135 above and beyond what you're currently paying. Understand the 8-month rule to enroll into Medicare, right? For those of you who haven't taken your AHIP, the 8-month rule, obviously leaving that employer plan to enroll into the Part B of Medicare. You have 8 months to do so. Your HSA, right? Are you delaying it, Part A, for tax purposes? Are you wanting to utilize or use up the rest of your HSA? You have 6 months to retro this. Does everyone understand the retroing of the Part B? Okay, if you don't, please get with us. If you're not enrolling into Part B, recognize that you have a lifetime penalty, right? And oftentimes you have a lifetime penalty on the Part D then as well because you never enrolled into Part B. So now you're double dipped as a consumer. Your general enrollment period is from January 1st to March 31st. So understand that if you do not enroll, now you're stuck till July 1st. So it's really important as an agent that you have these timelines, facts, and knowledge of what's occurring with your consumer to make the right decision for them. Does that make sense? Or with them? Name 3 things that can occur if you're late enrolling into your Part B of Medicare. Does anyone know 3 things that happens if you're late enrolling? Go ahead, Al.
You don't have coverage till June, you have a penalty, and
Is it June or July?
July.
Okay. Penalty on B and D. You're not eligible for guaranteed issued plans, right? You lost that right. You may have the Part D penalty. You may have to obviously wait until July 1st, and more importantly, you may have a pre-existing clause. There's many carriers now that have a 6-month pre-existing clause on Medicare supplemental plans. If you had no coverage, right, they're concerned as to why you're wanting coverage now. So recognize that. Learn and understand the Part B. Your online applications, right? Streamline the sales process. Fewer consumer calls. I didn't get my cards. I haven't gotten my paperwork. Well, Joyce, it's because I write like I have MS. It's true. I mean, my handwriting is amazing. And if I write in your address wrong and the carrier sees it as a 1 instead of a 7, you didn't get your cards. You didn't get your packet. Now my phone begins to blow up, right? I haven't got my cards. I haven't got my packet. I still haven't gotten it. Do you have my policy number? I don't know what I'm doing. I haven't made my payment yet. Oh my God, I'm so behind. And that's all that customer service time. We all understand you don't get paid for that, right? We get paid for selling plans. The servicing part is there, but if you set yourself up appropriately, that servicing and the customer service calls should be very minute. Once again, let's get into the online applications. If you need help, links, whatever the case may be, please get with us. It ensures a legible enrollment. It ensures that their name is right, that Medicare can find them. These Medicare claim numbers anymore, seriously. You're going to put a Z on there and an O? I mean, help me out. Recognize what you're writing on these paper applications if you're still completing paper applications, which obviously sometimes, depending on internet, et cetera, it is necessary. It shows your consumers your professionalism. Downloading the Aetna app onto an iPad to be able to telephonically keep that scope of appointment, to compliantly make your way through that application, shows them that you know what you're doing, that you've invested in your business, and that you're a true professional in helping them expedite this enrollment process. You pull out a folder that has a bunch of apps all going every different direction because it's been some crazy busy day and you've written 12 apps that day. I understand, but you need to hide that somewhere else or not. They don't want to be mixed in. They don't want to have a fear that they're not going to receive their paperwork in a timely fashion or have coverage for that matter. No need to keep track of your applications, right? No need to have inventory. It's all online. It's all built in. Download the Ascend app. We'll help you through that. Complete and store your scope of appointments compliantly. So I had a question because this is just coming up in my world. Anyone move in the last 10 years? No one's? Come on, give me some hands. No one's moved in the last, a few of you? Okay. We have to keep those scope of appointments for 10 years, right? So if you do end up moving again, or for those of you thinking of moving, if the market takes a dump, right, we decide to move, you get to move these scope of appointments, right? You get to move these applications. You get to compliantly make sure that these are all being secured and moved appropriately to a new establishment or a new office or whatever it may be. Having this done and saved within Aetna's, they store it for you. So it alleviates your compliant issues. I know personally that if I ever had a data breach, I probably won't be in this industry. I'd be done. I couldn't handle having that breach occur on my watch. I'm hoping that you all feel the same. Your Social Security number is private to you. Your date of birth is private to you. It's private to your consumers as well, and it needs treated as such. So, obviously, getting into the online application processes, now you don't need to have that scope of appointment sheet of paper and move it, or pay a mover to move it and store it, or whatever the case may be. Capture your consumer signatures and get through that sales process. So, lastly, we've had a few changes in regards to carrier involvement. SES has all of your contracts set up through DocuSign, right? So super quick, super easy. You can't mess up the contracts. It's pretty much foolproof. You log into the agent portal. Obviously, if you haven't logged in, we'll get you set up with an email so you can create your own password. You click on the carriers tab. All the carriers are there, but here's some changes. So Aetna, the Medicare Advantage plan is still through Aetna. However, Aetna's prescription drug plans is now under a separate contract. It's through WellCare's contract. So if you do have business, previous prescription drug business, we'll need to contract with WellCare in order to keep those renewals moving. The same holds true in regards to, click on carriers, MAPD, WellCare for your PDP, click on the product type, right, Medicare Advantage, PDP, Medigap. You have 3 separate contracts now. The Medicare supplemental contract, hospital indemnity contract is one Aetna contract. Your Medicare Advantage plan is still under Aetna, and then your prescription drug plan is now under WellCare. Click on the DocuSign contract. After completed, it is automatically sent to SES where the contract is submitted to the carrier. Next step, obviously, we get you certified, right? If you need help certifying, you need help with your AHIP, please let us know. When you're out visiting with consumers this annual enrollment period, let's sell them another product, right? Let's get into the hospital indemnity. Let's get into the life insurance. Let's exit the appointment, come back for a second appointment, or take really good notes and sell the Medicare during AEP, and after the 1st of January, when everyone's thinking about their life insurance, now you have a whole list of leads to go circle back and help with either life insurance or final expense. I skipped a slide. So recognize, there are final expense quoting engines. We'll help you get contracted. We'll help you understand the life insurance and final expense side. Just stop leaving money on the table and understand that the more contracts that consumer has with you, the more they're going to keep you. So if they bought their Medicare Advantage plan with you, and then they also bought their hospital indemnity plan with you, and then they also bought a dental vision hearing plan with you, they're yours, right? Recognize that. They're not going to go seek someone else out because, unfortunately, not every agent's going to go out and offer them the same things that you're going to offer to them. The SES staff. Out of the Waterford office, we have Yvonne Blanca, which I'll bring up here in a moment, broker manager. Teresa Rogers, agent services. She'll help you with your life, your annuity questions, etc. If you're not comfortable offering life, annuities, money management, I don't care what it is. If you have a referral that's out of state, we have a referral link. Most of you have used it, I believe. On that referral link, you just enter the consumer's name, phone number, your name, so we can make sure that you get credit for that. And if you, once again, receive a referral in Illinois, you don't want to get licensed in Illinois, we're in 47 states. So we can still continue to keep that business in the house and still take care of you as an agent. Kevin Gordon, you've met, contracting coordinator. Angela Schwartz handles all of our internal enrollments. For those of you still doing paper applications, you'll probably receive emails or calls from her this annual enrollment period if you do have any discrepancies. Ellie Phillips is our internal Medicare specialist, and then obviously we have the agent services 24/7. 24/7. There's a reason, because although Dan's going to come up here, and Dan's an amazing individual, he may not want to answer his phone at 9 o'clock at night for you. Just is what it is. So if you need an application, if you need an illustration, if you need a summary of benefits, if you need something while sitting at that kitchen table, we do provide you that 24/7 support. Because as a writing agent, I became infuriated that no one would answer their phone after 6 o'clock. Almost all of my business is written after 6 o'clock. And why is no one accessible? So we make that accessible, obviously, to our agents. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. Our phone number, we're on Skype once again 24/7, or you can email us. Once again, if you haven't been to the agent portal, if you haven't registered, please reach out to us. We'll get you registered, we'll get you taken care of, and then obviously we'll get your certifications handled as well. So at this point in time, we're just going to take a quick 10-15 minute break. Use the restroom, grab another cup of coffee. I'll get Dan up here and we'll go through 2020 Aetna.
Everybody's all set and ready to dive into Aetna. So Dan Dombrowski came in. He's going to go ahead and go over the products for you. If you have other additional questions, please, reach out to me, reach out to Dan. I'm basically your research guru over at Senior Enrollment Solutions. If you have certification questions, AHIP questions, if you run into a beneficiary that has a special election period, you don't know how that works, we're here for you. So hopefully you get some good information today. And thank you, Dan.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, John, for setting this up, and great bonding for the team. Thank you.
Wait, I want you to draw.
Okay.
So that, because I think everybody in the room so far, so they'll be like, Yvonne, why didn't you?
Okay.
But if you draw, that's okay. So this is for an iPad, as for everybody coming in. Okay, Reed, who'd you get?
Okay, Mac. Where's Mac?
Now, if you do need assistance, we provide assistance to help set that up for you. download the Ascend. We'll get you all online. And all of these agents attended our 3-part series. So they also are in the running for an iPad.
Another iPad.
Another
Wow,
iPad.
Man.
We like
wow.
online apps. Online apps.
Let's see if I can Susan out.
Thank you, Susan, for coming. And again, if you need help setting that up, we have one follow-up. So this is for a gas card. Yeah, one more.
One more.
I know, I'm giving you work.
Let's see. Yep. And this is the lucky winner, Eddie Williams.
Eddie Williams. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, there you go. Okay, so I have some reading material, and going back really quick to Dan's slides where he was talking about the Medigap versus MAPDs. I know that a lot of you might get discouraged in regards to the certifications. Don't let that discourage you on the quality of service you can provide people. A lot of times people are like, oh, I have to certify every year. But you're disservicing maybe someone that really could benefit from that plan. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Does anyone know what the Pareto principle is? That's right, 80% of your referrals come from 20% of your business. Keep that in mind. Thank you. Just, thank you so much for coming. Reach out to us if you have any additional questions. iPad winners, I'm expecting to hear from you so we can get you on online apps, stuff of that nature. Thanks again for coming. Hopefully you had learned some things, and we'll see you again during AEP.